Hello, and welcome to another special edition of Cracking the Rich Code, the podcast. I'm your host, John Verico, and I absolutely just love doing this show because I get to chat with some of the most amazing people on the planet, all of whom are authors in the Cracking the Rich Code book series. Today is no exception, and I bring on another very special guest. I know I say that about everybody, but once again, it's true. So my guest today is Saloua Lahlou, and she is a transformational coach, primarily working with women on wellness, helping people live a life of in alignment with their true selves. Wait do you speak? Wait do you meet her? You're going to absolutely love her, and check out her chapter in the upcoming edition of Cracking the Rich Code, Volume 20. So let's meet Saloua right now. And there you are. Good morning, Saloua. How are you?
Good morning, John. I am grateful to be with you today. Great to see you.
It's great to see you. It's always delightful when we have an opportunity to chat. We have had an opportunity to meet once before, obviously in the Cracking the Rich Code Mastermind, and then we had a side chat to get to know each other a little bit too. And all of that is just wonderful. And I said I can't wait to get her on this show. So I'm so glad that we finally got you scheduled to be on here. And of course, Cracking the Rich Code Volume 20 is not quite out yet as of this recording. Now, because this is an evergreen recording, we know will be out at some point, and people will, some point that Volume 20 will be way in the past. But right now, it is upcoming, and I'm looking forward to reading your chapter. And you wrote one called Wealth from Within. And that is just very intriguing title right there. So let's kind of chat a little bit about where that is coming from.
Yeah, absolutely. So we all, seek success and fulfillment in life. We all want to be wealthy. But the way we go about doing that or getting there is highly influenced by the way we were raised, the experiences we have in life. And in my scenario, I was taught a certain definition of success and of wealth. So I was told go to the top universities, go to work for the best companies, and I was chasing that wealth, that part of success, that path known. And life has its own way of teaching us lessons and guiding us to the truth. So in my journey, I unfortunately had two miscarriages, and that woke me up. And the second one almost took my life. So once I found myself in the hospital room and just questioning what got me there, I started questioning everything. I started questioning why I do what I do. I started questioning why I lead the life the way I do. I started questioning, well, naturally, the body is designed to bring life to earth. So where is the disconnect there? So that's where I started to listen to my body and treat it as a partner and shift all, learn the truth from that. And I was so grateful that I became a mother and all of that. But that experience, and I think so many of us get wake up calls where, oh, however I live right now, something has to fundamentally change so that I can be that true self. And that journey of going internally is where we find the true wealth. So that's why I say wealth from within, because once you uncover the truth for yourself, you will be able to achieve all the external things, but they will be from your own way of achieving success, your own way of what fulfillment is for you, because each one of us has what fulfills them that could be different. And it's important that we find that, not just follow what society has taught us would be fulfilling or would make us wealthy.
You make such a great point about the fact that we and I think so many of us fall into this trap of chasing what other people define as success.
Mm.
And I remember when Jim Britt first reached out to me and asked me about being in the Cracking the Rich Code series. I'm like, Cracking the Rich, isn't that for you? Like, stock market gurus and stuff like that. And all, that's not what I'm about. And then of course in further conversation realize we're talking about richness in life, and we all define that a little bit differently,
Yes,
and what is
absolutely.
very special for our own selves. Yes.
Yes, absolutely. And yeah, the that journey teaches us the true rich. I mean, money is amazing. It's simplifies life. It gives us comfort. Um, but but at the end of the day, we're all seeking deeper emotions. So being able to be rich in emotions, rich in health, rich in embodiment of being a soul in this planet Earth is the end of it all. So
Right.
learning to create that for ourselves, independent of what might be happening in the outside world, is the greatest freedom. And that's the true richness in my point of view. And that's why the journey within, for me, is the path to that.
And we hear it all the time, right? You can't take it with you. So, so many times people look at wealth and richness for their stuff, whatever they've accumulated, whatever they've amassed, their money, their collections, their cars, their whatever, and it's all just to try to show that they're better than the Joneses or whoever. That gets you nowhere. That gets you absolutely nowhere. You've got to be happy. You got to be healthy. You said something else in your first statement. You said treat your body like a partner, and I was like, oh, that is so brilliant. I never looked at it from that fashion. We always look at our body as um, kind of our transportation, our tool to use, instead of thinking of our body as almost a separate entity that is our partner in life.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. For me, when I shifted that, it was humbling. I always used my body. I used to work in the tech field, and I was a consultant, so I'm always in the planes and traveling. One meeting in San Francisco, taking another flight, and another meeting in New York, and like I didn't really prioritize rest or sleep, or I was just like, oh, I have this tool, I'm just gonna use it. But then the journey of wanting to be a mother was really humbling, because it made me realize, yes, it's you are a soul, but you are a soul having a human experience in this body. So there is a specific way of being, and that is what helped shift my perspective of the self. And that's when I also talk about the journey within, is like who we truly are, because it's important to realize, yes, we are soul, but at the same time we are in this 3D, and how to live in this 3D. And you live it best when you're partnering with this vessel, that through which you can create and you can manifest and you can experience and you can taste and you can. So yeah, the shifting the perspective about the power of the body, for me, led to a lot of insights, because it could be, yes, he's a body could be a partner, the body could be a teacher, the body could be a mirror to the self, and the body carries also information of generations. So you get also to know about our ancestors through the body. So it's an incredible um, miracle, to part like to be open to learning how to best live in this experience, and to be the true self. And you mentioned, my journey is about being the true self, to be the true self in the body. So being in 3D, but at the same time inspired by the connection to the soul. Yeah.
Wow, that's so inspiring the way you describe it. And we get to a point in life and we push. We're trying, like I said, we were talking earlier about chasing somebody else's version of what success really is. and we get to a point where we've pushed ourselves just a little too far. And I know so many people who've done that, who've fallen into that trap, um, and who said their priorities were this, but they were living a whole different life.
Yes,
And
yes.
you know, and you were describing, like, you're out there, you're zipping around the country, around the world, doing meetings and uh, doing all of this work stuff, and your heart's desire wanted you to slow down and have a family, but you weren't living that.
Yes, yes. So I have the concept of three brains. So I say that we don't have only the head brain, which for me, that's where I was living most of my life, is just following what certain definition of success, certain way of living. So I operated here until something had to change. And that's where when I started, I became an integrative nutritionist, and I started studying the power of nutrition and gut health. And then I learned about the gut brain. And then, of course, in that journey of healing, um, and being really with my emotions, I've learned the power of the heart brain. So it shifted my perspective that we have three intelligence centers that actually uh, influence our life and create this inner harmony. And I realized how, if I want a specific reality outside, the reality outside is a mirror to the reality inside, and my reality inside is defined by how these intelligence centers are in alignment or out of alignment. You mentioned the people think specific way, then they feel a specific way, and then they act a specific way. That's exactly the head and the heart and the gut. We are, if like you find people that are thinking, okay, this job is really good, it pays me well, it covers the bills, but their passion and their heart really wants them to go do something that is more aligned to what their soul's mission and where their heart is, and then their action are differently, and then they feel stuck, and they wonder why they're stuck, because they are pulled internally in different directions. So being honest with the self, where to look and say, okay, what do I really believe, and look at the true beliefs that the person really believes about everything, and then being able to be still enough and be, so many people just feel so uncomfortable feeling it feels easier and safer to just stay in the thinking world. But being open to being vulnerable and sitting with emotions is what's going to allow us to create that inner harmony of heart and mind, and then being able to partner with the body, partner with you know the gut. We all want this intuition, but we are not paying attention to how food affects the thoughts, to how nutrition affects our ability to hear our intuition. But so I often talk to my clients about, okay, the way to create this reality or this dream life you want, it starts from within. It starts by looking honestly and truthfully at the thoughts we think, at the feelings we feel, at the way we partner with this vessel in life, and how can we get them in alignment so that the outer reality that we want could be created.
Let me ask you, where do people's values kind of fall into this? Because so many times we wind up working in a job or a career field or whatever just to make a living, right? Just to survive, and then people find themselves sometimes stuck there because they're afraid to move on to something else, or they know they really would love to do this other thing, but oh, I'll never be able to make a living that way. But then they start finding themselves at cross swords with their own values, where their heart is really in alignment. How can people realign themselves with their values?
Yeah, so by looking exactly like what I mentioned, honestly, at these three levels, because if they believe they cannot make an income using what they love, that's a belief that in and itself will stop action. So the being able to look into that belief and uncover what is really the truth. Life is limitless, creation is limitless, nature is limitless. So if you look at just how creation is a reflection of the limitless opportunities to create. And so life is abundant. So being able to look at the thoughts, is this thought serving me or is not serving me? And as a
Ooh.
creator of my reality, I have the power to choose my thought. A lot of people don't, think that they have that power, and they are just servant to the mind. But the mind is a tool. The mind is a tool to be used in life, and to say, if this belief does not serve me, I can choose a different belief that serves me. So the self concept is something that that's one of the foundational steps that I work when I work with my clients, is to define your view of the self. Because if you start seeing yourself, okay, my mind is the leader, then you're gonna be a victim, because we think about 60,000 thoughts a day, and
Wow.
95%, 80% of them are negative, 95% of them are repetitive. So we are about 5% conscious. How would you create the different reality when that's how your mind operates, right? So the first thing is to claim the power back, that I can choose my thoughts, I can choose my beliefs. So, which beliefs are going to help me live in alignment with my values? So, just to, from that perspective, to shift the perspective of the self gives the freedom, because a lot of times we create the cage that we are trapped in. It's
Yes.
not the world. It's not the world. It's not creation, like free, I feel like God allows everything to exist. The good, the bad, like it's just like everything is allowed to be. So why not think the same thing? We are also have that freedom to be whoever we want to be. So I would say the starting point to get back to living with in alignment with the values is to um, examine the thoughts, um, and stay at the door of that mind.
I love it. And it's so true. Like I said, we trap ourselves into thinking a certain way. And boy, you said some numbers there. What, 80% of our thoughts are negative?
Yeah, yeah, and 95% of them are repetitive.
Wow. And you know
Well,
what? Those voices in our head, most of the time, they're not even our own voices. They're what other people said to us. Like somebody told me that I'd never amount to anything. Somebody told me that I wasn't good at something. And so I believed that. And I kept telling myself that over and over again.
yes, yes, absolutely. Yeah,
So it's all about overcoming.
yes, it's about returning to the truth. It's like it's a process of unlearning. We grow up
Yeah.
and getting conditioned by society, by experiences, by things that we inherited. And then the process, I feel, of going to truth is not to be somebody different. It's more of removing the layers that prevent us from being the true self. So it's a returning to truth, it's a returning to um, to that divine self. It's that, the journey of going within.
And that could be painful for people. Hey, for those of you who are just tuning in, you first of all, you want to go back and listen to this from the beginning. We're having a fantastic conversation with the delightful Saloua Lahlou, and she is a transformational coach. And if you're listening to this, you can understand very easily how she helps people transform and get in alignment with their true selves. We've been talking about the three brains: our head brain, our heart brain, and our gut brain. learning some fantastic and a little bit scary statistics that of the 60,000 thoughts we have every day, 80% of those are negative and 95% of those are repetitive. Boy, that sounds like such a horrendous cycle to try to break out of. And that's what Saloua does, is helps people to break that cycle and to find their true self and give their true self an opportunity to grow and to learn and to expand. And this is wonderful stuff. So Scylla, tell me a little bit about, and tell our listeners about a little bit more about what you do and how you do it, and a little bit about Munaya.
Yeah, absolutely. So, um, in my journey of self actualization or returning to truth, um, I discovered, the three brains that I need to be able to align my thoughts and feelings and actions so that I can find inner peace. Because I think at the end of the day, we all want inner peace. Then I went to mindsets programs. I went to yoga centers. I became a yoga teacher. I experienced various healing modalities, and I realized that. Um, we could say affirmations all day and we still cannot transform our life because if we don't align those with the feelings, with the state of being, but also from the concept of the true self, then we don't really create change. So that's where, for me, the greatest transformation was when I started to see myself as soul and lead myself as soul. So I have this concept of soul leadership. If each one of us, I feel, come to earth with a mission, we are like pieces of the puzzle and we complete each other. And the journey of life is to live it from that source and that truth. Um, and then working and creating that inner alignment, then you express the soul. So I put these concepts into what I call the dream method. So D stands for discovering the true self. R is for wiring the mind, the thoughts, and the E is for expanding the heart, and A for aligning with the vessel, and M for mastering soul expression. So you start with developing the self concept by truly seeing the self, what it is in this intersection of 3D and eternal self, right? Um, and from that truth, you start examining the beliefs and creating more truth and empowering thoughts and beliefs and developing a resilient mindset. Then being able to heal the grief, forgive, release, learn joy, embody joy, and
All those
creativity.
things that we hold on to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And I use these three characters of the monkey mind and the elephant's heart. So the elephant who holds on to memories, and that's like the symbol of our heart. And then for the gut, I have the donkey that symbolizes the hustle culture that tells us just go work, 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 work. But it's not work that, yes, work is important, but aligned work, aligned action is what truly manifests dreams. So then getting people to, um, look at the truth and see where their effort is being spent, and is it truly in alignment with their soul mission. And then the final piece, M, is mastering that soul expression. Mastering, know your gifts deeply, and then allow yourself to express it to the world. So the dream method is the method that I guide, my clients through to create that inner alignment and also a soul expression on earth.
Wow. Wow, that is just absolutely amazing and so profound. Before we're running out of time quickly, so let's talk really briefly about Munaya. First of all, where does that word come from? And then tell us a little bit about what you're doing with the Manaya ecosystem.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. So Munaya means my dream. And for me, it started with the simple dream of education. So my mother never had the chance to go to school in Morocco. And my dad died when I was 9 months old, and he left her with three children to raise alone. So I saw her struggling, and I often asked her, Mom, why is life hard? Why is this difficult? And she told me, because I didn't get an education. So I was determined that I want the education that my mother never had. So I wanted to study for me and her. So yeah, that's what led me to come to America and go to Georgia Tech and Harvard, and I was so grateful to achieve that dream of education. Then from that dream emerged other
I have to
dreams,
tell
and then
you, something similar. My father had to leave school early because his father had passed away, and
mm,
so he had to leave school and go to work to help his mother and his siblings. So as he went through life, he learned to not be stopped by not knowing something. So if
mm,
something needed to be done, he would learn how to do it, and so he
beautiful.
knew how to do everything. And he enforced he enforced a or instilled, I should say, not enforced. He instilled in us an ethic. He said, learn something new every day,
Beautiful.
because I
Beautiful.
would prefer if you stay in school. But if you don't, that's your choice. But don't waste your time. Don't waste your efforts. Don't say you can't do something until you've tried it. Don't say you don't like that food until you've tried it. And most importantly, don't say you don't like that person until you've given them a chance. And that's the ethic that he brought into our lives. So my brother and I really kind of focused on that and how we approach life, and being open-minded and looking to learn and appreciate everything that's around us.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yes, and that is, you see, this one is an example of how a perspective can transform life. Something
Yes.
can happen to us, and if we have the perspective that everything is happening for me, we take that as like, oh, it's a gift. And for me, that was, you know, beautiful. Like, yes, I wished I had a father, I wished other things, but like it was always a gift that shaped who I am and gave me the wisdom that
Yeah.
I'm able to share. And in his example, he shaped all of you to, share that piece of wisdom. So, looking at that, everything in life is happening for us allows us to constantly say what is there to learn, and it's a very
It's hard to,
powerful.
and sometimes it's hard to see it when you're in the moment.
Of course, it's always that's why it's important to, yeah, it's important to not let the mind lead and
Yes.
great, come back. So those moments are moments for the heart to lead. So the mind is meant for survival. Mind always detects what goes wrong and wants to protect us. So being aware how the mind works can help us know when to use it and when not to use it. So when we are in a difficult situation and we feel scared, we understand it's normal. We're able to allow that emotion to be. Um, so yeah, those experiences shape our dreams, you see. So so in my example, my life path shaped the types of dreams I've had, whether it's from education, then healing. So that is what, me going to yoga centers and sitting in these healing places shaped who I am. That's why I created Munaya Resort, to be that space for others to transform, to heal, to be. I truly believe that dreams are like seeds of light that gets implanted in our hearts about our mission. And because of the work that I do, I help people connect to their soul and create from their soul and express from their soul. So Munaya means my dream, and it's an intention for this space and all my offerings to help people live fully their dream. Yeah.
I love it. And I know that you are making a major difference for people out there. And I'm so grateful that you are. Um, Oh, Saloua, I can't believe we are out of time already. It's ridiculous how quickly this goes. We can talk for hours. Unfortunately, the podcast has a limit of how long we can go. So I want to tell people, definitely go back and watch this from the beginning and play it over and over again, because I think each time you listen, you might get even another nugget of wisdom that is kind of buried within this whole conversation. But you can go to Salua's website, salualahlou.com. You can also go to manaya.com, which will tell you a little bit more about her retreat and that kind of services. Her chapter is in Cracking the Rich Code, Volume 20. It is called Wealth from Within. And I think by listening to this podcast, you will get just a little inkling of what kind of wisdom you'll get from that. I can't wait for Volume 20 to come out. And then finally, reach out and connect with Saloua on LinkedIn. She's very responsive there, and it's a good place to get in touch with her. Saloua, is anything else that you would like to wrap up and want people to know before we close out this podcast?
Oh, thank you so much, John. It's an absolute pleasure to connect with you. I want to just encourage everyone to continue dreaming. Dreaming is what keeps us alive. It's what brings our heart and soul into life, to taste the sweetness. Life is a gift, and we are creators of our reality. So just claim that power back to you, to choose your thoughts, to choose your feelings, to choose the life you want to create. You've always had the power, and you'll always have it. So may each one live their dream.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much, Saloua. Thank you for joining us. And folks, like I said, go back and listen to this over and over again from the beginning. And don't miss future episodes of Cracking the Rich Code, the podcast. I've been delighted to be your host for this series, and I will see you next time. Saloua, thank you again for